Welcome everyone to Series 6, Episode 8 of Kidlit International. Today we are talking about writing and illustrator retreats, what to expect from them. Are they worth attending? Is local better than international, or do we do both? So, Karen, we're going to begin with you because I know you have been on a few retreats now. If you can talk us through your experience.
Okay, I've done both interstate and overseas. And the most recent one was in April. So, first of all, the ones that I did when I first started writing, I had no community here where I lived. And when you're not published, people don't even, they go, well, when are you going to be published? And are you really a writer? And things like that. So the only thing I could find was retreat on the sunny coast with Elisa Darlison. And I did 3 of them because I had no community here. But what it gave me, I'll get a tear in my eye. It gave me, now we hardly ever see each other, but it gave me my heart, a couple of heart friends that were starting out when I did. And I just know they're there. And one of them was Ashlyn Kwok. And we might only see each other once a year and we don't swap stories or anything, but we just connect and we can just talk kidlit when we connect and we just natter away for a couple of hours and you go away and you feel really good. And Elisa did say at the retreat that look around at the people here. These are going to be your writing journey buddies. And even though a lot of the others I'm still connected to, I have my heart ones, and the other one is Maria. I can never pronounce her last name. It's Italian. Perlo, or anyway, she's up in Queensland and she's doing amazing things in other fields. But I think she still dabbles in writing, but she always still connects in with Aisling and I. And the other thing was when you start out, a well-run retreat will have workshops and you may have a manuscript assessment. I've never done any well at a retreat at an assessment, but you'll have a workshop. You'll be with a whole heap of people. You go out for dinner together. You're all creatives. You're all in a bubble together where normally you're at home alone. And that in itself it fills your cup. And I always shared because it was cheaper at those retreats and just being in a different place as a writer. Elisa's were up in Montville and they were amazing. And then and then I didn't do any for years and years. And Zany Louise had a weekend one in the Blue Mountains. So I did that. And it's not even about, because I never seem to achieve much writing wise when I'm away, but it's validating you as a writer. Because if you put me at a table and tell me to write, I can't do that. It has to be when it comes to me, and I don't do daily pages or things. But it was the same. It was just, a whole community of writers and seeing other people and illustrators as well, and author illustrators. One of them that did Elisa's a lot was she did, I think, more than me, is Inda. I can't think of her last name. She's overseas at the moment, but she's an author illustrator. And we all met her at the beginning of her career when she was dabbling in writing as well as illustrating. So it's been interesting watching her career. And the other one I just did, because I've had health challenges, Zany Louise had a retreat in Tuscany this year. And I just went, I'm doing it. And I could pay it off all year. And I went, and then because she timed it so well, it was when the Bologna Book Fair was on, and I've always wanted to go there. And Jen, you and I talked about it,
Yeah.
and I was like, okay, I can pop over to the book fair and then go to the retreat. And the beauty of that was you've got to know who runs the retreat, and you've got to respect them as a professional and their knowledge, and you've got to look at the program. So both of those women are incredible at what they do, and they're highly polished professionals, and they've been working at their craft a long time, so they know the deal and they know what it's like, and the journey is different for everyone. So Zany had a program that was for both, and we had a couple of international agents from America there. You didn't have to go with them or not. I didn't have anything suitable for them, but just meeting them and listening to them and how they look at a manuscript was really helpful. Um, and then you have free time and you're in another country and another culture, and got to meet the people who run the chateau, which was in the countryside in Florence. So you go away and you have connections with people, and you just realize how incredible some people are, like how they all are, and how passionate they all are at what they do, no matter what stage they're at. Because at any retreat I've been to, it's from beginner all the way through. It doesn't really matter. And you just sort of support each other. You do find, like, I'm older, so the younger ones gravitate to go together and whatever, but then we all mix. Um, and it's good. Like, there was a young illustrator, I can't think, she's Aboriginal on Zanies, and she's just so clever. And I just love what she does. I can't think of a name. But so if you can afford it, do it, but don't just go, oh, this is a writer retreat, so I'm going to do it. You need to do your homework. You need to have some knowledge industry and know who you want to do the retreat with and why. And I didn't go into it thinking, oh, I'm going to get a book contract, or I'm going to get, it's not about that. It's about your craft. It's gaining more knowledge, but it's also networking, and it's also learning. Like, even going to Queensland to the sunny coast for a retreat was like a bit like scary at first, because you go up there and you're by yourself and you think, I wonder what it's going to be like. But then once you start getting used to it, and then the one in Italy, like, it was the fact that Zani's Australian and she's overseas at the moment, but it was all Australian creatives. So even though we're in the Italian bubble and we got the Italian culture, we're all Australian. And she did little things like, we had breakfast an hour earlier than Italians, and we had dinner an hour earlier because we're Australian. So you've got to know who you're doing the retreat with and how they are. Like, I could easily do one with you, Jen, because you've talked about running them. And like, you know the game, you know what you're doing, you know what you bring to the table, and people will benefit from it.
Yeah, I've thought about it on and off over the years, but I haven't actually done it. Yeah, and we
Been
have had
playing,
discussions about it.
yep, a long time you've been
Yeah,
playing. And
yeah,
I think the hardest thing about it too is the person who decides to run the retreat is putting themselves out there, because it's not cheap.
no,
And that is a big issue. And that's why there are not many. I've been on a squibby one as well once, Western Sydney somewhere, and I shared a room with Ashling, and we went so we could catch up once a year. That was our catch up. So we just talked all night in the bedroom and went along to the things. But part of that is like, just because I went because I wanted to be with my heart writer friend. So that was good. But then I love Emma Quay, and I know her online, but I've seen her at a retreat, and I always just like saying hello and connecting with her. You can put people to names sometimes when you go to these things, and it's
Yeah.
like, oh, I know that really good writer, and I know what they're like as a person and how they
Mm.
roll, and it just makes you appreciate their work even more and what they
Yeah.
do. So I think you keep toying with it, but I know it's the cost because it's horrendous in Australia to find a venue, and
Yeah.
then you want to have the food because when I go to retreat, I don't want to be cooking my food. I want my food. I want to go and have a nice breakfast. That's part of it. And then we go off and we do our first session, and we might have morning tea, and then you have lunch, and you're talking again. And sometimes they have books there. You can look at everybody's books and things like that. So the catering's difficult, the venue's difficult, and then even having people available as professionals to come in as guests is really difficult. So if you look at it from that point of view, you're very brave when you do host a retreat.
Yeah. I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't actually pursued it, because when I did look into it seriously and added up the cost of everything, what I would have had to have asked creatives
Mm,
to cover costs, not make anything, just to cover those costs,
yeah,
was phenomenal. And I think it was in those years when, I mean, times still are tough. So,
yeah,
it was like, how do I sell this? The cost of it, yeah, it would have been great. It was tricky to get people to come in to speak. And
yeah,
like you, I didn't want to be spending time cooking. I wanted us to have a meal put in front of us because that's a part of it.
yeah.
But the cost in Australia to hold a retreat is absolutely phenomenal.
It's insane.
But, I'm not discounting it. It is something I will look at again in the future. But yeah, that's one reason why well, the main reason I haven't done it.
I have a
I
tip
haven't.
for you guys. I don't know if you can do it, but I've been working with our local temple, and they once a year now are going to host a retreat at the temple for creatives, but you have to be in silence. But I would say if you get accepted in, I mean, you can apply to go, and I don't think they'll charge you.
Oh, okay, that's
I'll let
interesting.
I'll let you know when it's on if anybody's interested. Um,
Mm,
and that's a totally different experience too, because you're in Buddhist culture.
yeah, yeah,
It's following,
yeah,
you know, their teachings and things while you're there. But you've got plenty of time. That's more where you're creating yourself and you're away in a bubble. You're not getting other people coming in. That's another type of retreat.
yeah, yeah. And it's all about the experience, isn't it? The networking, the community,
Yeah.
the experience, what you take away with you, and the validation. You talked about validation. Holly, if we can switch over to you because you've been on a few retreats, what are your thoughts?
Well, I definitely highly recommend them. Um, so I've been on two international ones, and then I've attended like two international in person, and then I've attended two or three international online. Now, they all were really valuable. I really loved the in-person ones that I did, partly because of the location, and they were both at a castle in Ireland.
Mm.
And like I have heritage there. So the family connection to all of the UK. And I knew a number of people, but I didn't have a writing community when I first went. And I had an opportunity to be in an anthology, and I met a lot of people. I'm still very well connected with a lot of the people, the majority of them, I would say. Um, as well, the next, actually both of them I was in anthologies with. And there's just so much about them. Like, it's hard to even begin really to really, you can't say enough to do it justice, really. The feeling of just being in Ireland, and of course, so close to the water. Now, the castle's not right at the water, but just having that whole experience, all that green. I swear it's 40 shades of green or more. I don't know how many it is, but that whole patchwork quilt when you're coming in for the landing, there's really nothing like being there in person. And the people, like the belief, what you talked about, Karen, like that was the biggest part for me. Like, I knew that I wanted to write at some point. I started off, and it just, of course, like our paths sometimes are, it didn't go anything like what I thought it was going to. I don't mean that there, but as far as my whole writing journey has been just different than what I had anticipated. But I realized when I was there, I didn't have as much belief in myself. I was just trying to sort out so many things. So many things had happened already before I got there. And I just was sort of not sure how it was going to all unfold. And I realized when I left the retreat, I was definitely going to be published. Like, I just had that. I knew I would. I had been assured there would be magic, and I definitely felt it. And it wasn't in the same sense as how I feel it now, but it was definitely part of the journey. It was just so important. And then the next time, it was incredible in a different kind of way. It was the same castle, some of the same people, a lot of different ones though, and a completely different type of book. And like community, of course, by then I knew how important community is, and how writers and authors and illustrators, they support each other. And of course, there were people from all walks of life and many different countries. I think it was I believe it was 6 countries the first time. I'm not sure how many countries we had covered the second time, but a lot. And then the online retreat as well was really, really good. Like, I had actually just launched my book on the Saturday, and on the Monday, this online retreat started. And I remember it was actually Jennifer I had noticed had liked it. And that's how I actually found it. And I am still super connected with so many of those people. In fact, generally every week I meet with some people that I met during that conference and some of the other workshops that they had. And with that one, like the group that I meet with all the time, we just happened to be, there was 5 of us. We were in a Zoom room, and it was quick. It's probably, I don't know if we had 5-10 minutes. And by the end of that, we just really quickly, we connected so much, so strongly. We just quickly said, hey, would you guys happen to want to meet up like often? And we're like, yeah, well, yeah, for sure. And so we've been doing that it's about 3 years now. So it's like some weeks we don't meet, but we just sort of have a standing call, and whoever can jump on. And it's a really tight community. It even, like, sometimes it isn't even about writing. Sometimes it's just, because we spend so much time together and we've gotten to know each other so well. Sometimes it's just about life. And that's good too. And I think because we're always working on our own, you really need that community. I think that's what I'm going to leave as my tip. We all need community. So anyway, I'll stop there.
Yeah, it's that support network, isn't it?
Mhm.
It's and that goes beyond the retreat, doesn't it? As you and Karen have both said, it's not just for the time you're there; it's for years afterwards. Chris, have you ever been on a retreat?
Um, no, but this is where I took a kind of different take, but actually Karen and Holly have explained what I'm going to say, and it's why I've got the backdrop behind me because checking the mirror ink, yep, that book there isn't mine. It's actually Jennifer. I sent it to you before it was published as well, and your feedback was absolutely gorgeous about it. But this is my girlfriend who lives in the same village. How it took us 10 years to meet is still beyond me, but there we go. And so she had written a book 8 years ago, but didn't know how to go about it. What I'd found since I published my first book was the amount of people that were there and being supportive and helpful. So actually, my retreats more or less became social media. Um, One of them, I ended up doing the whole internal design layout for Not Marriage Material, which was the anthology earlier this year. Um, Another anthology that I know Holly has seen about grief that I've been in. And that whole collaboration, talking to other authors, being accepted into that whole world is huge. It's great as publishing our own books, but when actually you've got people supporting you online who have, over the last 3 or 4 years, become really close friends, some of whom I haven't met because they're in different continents. Um, Even though I seem to be in a different country every time we do this, um, it's still, you're looking at these people are really supportive. And we have a community, and it does, as Holly says, come down entirely to community that is incredibly supportive of each other. We all actually want to see everyone else succeed, whether it's because go and buy their book, because then you might buy mine as well. Well, that's a fair comment, really. Um, but the collaboration, being part of anthologies, being accepted by your peers is huge. Because I've been living in Turkey and have had to spend a few months in the UK recently, getting to retreats and finding retreats that I can actually go to without leaving home for too long is difficult. But being able to use online resources and effectively create almost your own online retreat is really quite special because none of us know if we're doing the right thing unless people tell us. And having other authors going, what you're doing is really good. Have you thought of this? And actually, my next book, I've been press ganged into writing by two of the people I met online, going, you've got to write about this. It's kind of really, but I am doing, and it's fun and quite emotional in some ways because it's a bit of a memoir. But this is what we get from other authors. If we don't have that community, we've really got nowhere to go. We all need help. We all need advice. We all need encouragement. And I think, yes, it would be lovely to go on a real retreat, particularly Holly. I'm jealous of the island one. Um, I An online retreat actually works equally as well.
Yeah, online retreat is actually something I had never thought of until having this conversation. So that's
It,
it's been really
if you think
interesting for
about
me,
it,
and I'm sitting here with 1,000 thoughts going through my head of how I get to an online retreat. Oh,
but
pretty
if you
falls
think
all of
about
you.
it, we've been doing an
Yeah,
almost virtual online retreat for
yeah,
I've forgotten how many years now. It's been Holly and Karen have been doing it even longer than me, and obviously you.
yeah.
And
It's been three
you know,
years.
but it's been a huge support group,
Yeah,
and that's what a retreat is all about. It's being a support group and a community. So whether it's us doing this or having chats elsewhere, the contacts we make, the encouragement we give each other is huge.
Yeah, that's what's fundamental, isn't it? The encouragement and the support that's coming through really loudly with everyone who's spoken so far. Emma, you are an author and an illustrator. What kind of retreat would appeal to you the most?
Um, being going on a retreat is like it was on my bucket list, and now it's really on my bucket list after listening to everybody today. I would be happy to do either. One that caters for both author and illustrators would be great. I would love to do anything illustrator focused, but I am also wanting to sharpen up my writing skills because that's like the area I don't focus on as much in my career at the moment. So I love traveling and meeting people and food if there's food. I sort of came into this discussion not too sure how sold I was on the idea of retreats, but I really think they're so important. I it's because I was taking a lot I had for granted. I live in a major city, so I've got a writers community like in the city.
Yeah.
There's workshops that come here. There's networking opportunities that come here often. Like Brisbane is a pretty good spot for a lot of Kidlit events. But if you live not in a major centre, then I can imagine the retreats are like amazing because you know, you get to hang out with your tribe, you get to make new connections. It's sort of networking, it's workshopping, it's all rolled into one, which is something you might not have access outside of the big cities. So I think, yeah, I definitely think they're really, really great, and I'd love to attend one. And I think that I can see where they like fit in more now. I have a wider appreciation of their importance.
Yeah, yeah. And I certainly have too, listening to this conversation. Whilst it's always been in my mind to hold one, this is kind of very much reinforced. I'm kind of going, the the clouds are getting bigger and bigger throughout this last half an hour. Lauren, as a podcaster, what are your thoughts on retreats?
I think they're brilliant if you are in an environment where you may not have a quiet home life. I remember starting to write when I had really little kids, and let's face it, the house isn't quiet. So I can see how, like, I've personally never been, like, the only retreats I've been to is when I've retreated to the depths of despair. I've retreated to the bottle shop. I've retreated to the freezer section at Woolies and bought a 2 kilo packet of ice cream. I retreat in different ways, but I actually haven't been able to go on a retreat. But I think what an amazing opportunity just on the focus of the craft you'd be going to. So whether you are doing illustration, author, film, podcaster, whatever, but just to have that solid focused time where it's catered and you possibly are in another country, I think if you can do it, go for it. But I like how there's other opportunities where if you're time poor, if financially you can't do it, the online community, like Chris has said, or as well, why not start up your own online retreat?
Yeah, yeah.
Jennifer.
Yeah.
Jennifer.
My mind is working overtime. It's okay. You're all involved, every one of you.
I will be there.
Yeah, and I guess that's one of the big things for me online. Who would have thought? And as Chris said, this is kind of what we're doing in these conversations, offering support, offering that community and networking and all those things that are really important that goes with retreats. So yeah, it's been a really, really interesting conversation. And yeah, my mind is certainly turning to monkey brain at the moment. Does anyone have any last words? I think we've all agreed, yes, retreats are worth it. Any other tips, words of advice?
It's all about community,
Mm.
and it's supporting each other, and the amount authors, publishers, illustrators actually do go out of their way to support each other, to give advice, to help. one of the anthologies I was in, it was someone that read my book, then became an ARC reader for the second book, and then asked me to be in their anthology. This is the way it works. And when you find that community, whether it's physically in a castle in Ireland, being in Queensland, or being online, that whole community is the most important thing we have.
And Emma
Yeah.
raised a great point too, because she has a great community around her. If you're alone like I am, and you're bewildered when you first start out, you don't know what you're doing. The retreat is like a lifeline. It's like, oh, there are other people who want to do what I do, and you learn as you go along. And yeah, I think if you get the opportunity, you should go for it. Mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Final words, Holly?
Actually, what I said before, really, like the community, the main thing for me. I'll just add one thing about, I actually don't do a lot of writing at the retreats.
No,
I
you
really don't. No, it's all the other stuff is what that's what I've found.
And it's
Some
not
Yeah.
presenters, is it, Holly? Like other people share tidbits of their information, and you share yours. So it's also the participants. You learn
yes.
as much from them as what you do from the presenters.
Exactly.
Last words, Lauren?
Oh, it all just sounds so exciting. I'm just thinking ways if I can get a retreat into the budget somehow. Ireland, here I come.
Oh,
Yeah. Sounds good. All right. Thank you, everyone, once again for your insights. It's been an amazing conversation today, one that's got us all thinking about what we can do down the line. And, it's all in the name of support and encouragement for each other and looking out for each other and being there for each other. And that is so important in the world of creatives, because it is a lonely existence more often than not. So thank you, everyone, and we'll chat again soon.
Thank you.